Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another Sonic merchandise video. So as this weekend's Easter, I figured I'd do something a little bit different, and I'm going to be showing you my entire Dr Robotnik collection. Okay, so we're going to start with the bulk of my collection, and that is this shelf here among my detailed cabinets. Now, this shelf is completely filled with nothing but Dr Robotnik merchandise, and I did kind of briefly cover this shelf when I did the room tour just over a year ago, although I have changed it around a little bit since then, and added a couple of new bits. And obviously in this video I'll be able to cover some of the pieces in more detail that I couldn't before. So I'm going to move straight here on the left, with a pretty comical Dr Robotnik yo-yo here, which is pretty funny as you've got him sort of shouting there while he's illustrated on the top half of the Eggman. Now you might miss it, but behind him is the 90s McDonald's Dr Robotnik little toy, which has got a wind up on the right of it, which you wind up and then you put it on a smooth surface and it would go all over the place. Moving to the right of the yo-yo, we have a Dr Robotnik figure from Tony. On to the right here we have, this is actually part of a Sonic launcher set. There was a Sonic launcher exactly like that, but obviously in blue. It was a two-player game. Basically, there's a little metal piece which is in the shape of Dr Robotnik. You'd put it in this little funnel here. You'd put it up there and you'd twist it around. And you do the same with the Sonic one, obviously if there's two people playing the game, and it would come with a little purple sort of ring, and you'd press the button and both of the little metal figures would go spinning all around in it, and whoever gets knocked out first loses. Moving next to that one we have, now this is a pretty rare and interesting piece. This is part of the discontinued chess set that was released in the United Kingdom. Now, only 4 figures were released in this chess set, and there was going to be many other Sonic the Hedgehog characters released in this set. I'm not entirely sure why it got cancelled. I don't know whether it had a lack of interest or lack of funds for people who was getting it. But the fact that this is discontinued makes these quite hard to get hold of now. So yeah, there was only 4 that was actually released. I actually have the other 3 just below here, which is Sonic, Tails and Charl. But in my opinion, I think Robotnik looks the most impressive out of the 4 because he's the most detailed and the biggest. He looks pretty cool there on that red base. Moving to the right here, we have another Dr Robotnik figure, which is the same on the left there. It might look slightly different, but that's just the paint job. Behind that, we have another Robotnik figure, a small one, in a more angry position. Just pop that one back without knocking everything over. Coming to the right here we have a more classic Dr Eggman looking figure, and next to that is another classic Dr Eggman figure. Now don't be confused that they're the same figure, because if you look you'll see that they both are in different poses, even though their faces and expressions are exactly the same. As you can see, that one's got his right arm out and left arm in, and this one's got both of his arms out, and this one's sort of more slanted over to the left with his legs there. On the right here, this is actually the launcher part that goes in the launcher, which I just said. As you can see, it is in the shape of Dr Robotnik, or the classic Dr Eggman, which is pretty cool because most of the early Tomy figures they released in the 90s were in the shape of the adventures of Dr Robotnik form, so it's pretty cool to see some classic Dr Eggman looking stuff. As you can see, his hands have been worn, as this is my original set and this had a lot of playtime when I had it during the 90s. Behind that we have a Burger King Dr Robotnik toy. This has actually got a magnet in it if I remember rightly, so I think it was, you can move it all around with the magnet that's in there, or whether it was attracted to the other toys that were from that set, I can't actually remember. Coming to a new piece of merchandise now, or I say newish, this is obviously the Sonic Boom Dr Eggman. He looks pretty cool. I did review him last year. It's really awesome that we finally get a decent Eggmatic in toy form, and it's definitely my favourite part about the figure. It's not the best of like figures overall because it's really hard to get him to stand up, and I've tried using it like how you would as actual toy, where you shoot it along, but Eggman does not stand up at all. He will just fall over literally straight away. So unless you've got him standing there, he will fall over with any movement that you try to do to him. Okay. Moving to this guy here, this is a much bigger figure of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Dr Robotnik figure. As you can see, he does tower over the others. I do have a double of this one as well. He's just sort of hiding in the back there, behind Dr Eggman's glove. And then coming to this guy here. Now this is actually the Sonic Adventure Dr Eggman figure. This is the one that came with the Badnik in the shape of coconuts, or was it Kiki Bot they're called? I can't remember. And he also had Chaos Emeralds and some magnetic rings that stick to his feet. Moving over to this guy here, we have a classic Dr Eggman plush, which is pretty cool. Moving up here, we have the Sonic X Volume 2 Dr Eggman plush. I'm just going to stand up here so I can get a closer look. So yeah, he's mint and tagged. In fact, all the plushes in here are actually mint and tagged. And he's actually got the Burger King Dr Robotnik figure sitting in his lap here. I do have the plastic part that comes from his stomach there, which I believe you stuck in him, you pulled it out quickly and then he'd go all over the place. I can't really remember too much about that one actually. Right in the back here, this is actually the only piece of Sonic Underground Robotnik merchandise that I own. And this was like a sort of it's sort of like a very big jigsaw piece. You might be able to just see the jigsaw patterns on the Robotnik there. Should just be picking that up. I've seen this actually made, and it actually is quite a big piece. Of course mine's in mint condition and I haven't actually opened it, and I don't plan to because Sonic Underground merch is quite rare. And standing on top of that is another one of the classic Dr Eggman figures that is the same as one of the ones you saw at the front. Okay, now moving on to this guy, which is definitely one of my favourite pieces from my Robotnik collection, being the absolutely huge Dr Robotnik plush from Sega World, Sydney, Australia. Now this guy is really rare to come by. You don't often see him pop up on auction websites, especially in good condition. And my one is in brand new mint condition. It actually still contains the cardboard tag, which is above his eye there. You might just be able to see it popping up there. That's really rare to still see it on this plush, because it's in a very precarious spot where it's most likely to get knocked off or damaged or just pulled off easily. But he is an absolute a beast of a plush, as you can see there. He's got incredible detail. Oops, what's the shade? As you can see, he literally towers over everything in this shelf. As far as I'm aware, this is the only known Dr Robotnik plush that was based off of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog form. It was released in Sega World in Sydney, Australia. Now there was actually 3 sizes of this plush release, being a small, medium, large. This is the large. There was also other characters from the set. There was Sonic, Tails and Sally, I believe. In fact, I do own the Sonic plush from the Sega World, Sydney, Australia, which is this guy right up here, but this is the small version of the figure, and even he's really rare to come by. But yeah, now there's a couple of pieces in this shelf that it might be pretty hard to see, they're pretty hidden. In the back there is actually a boxed Sonic X Dr Eggman figure, which was the re-released version of this one, but he is mint in the box at the back there. Don't think you can see him, but that is what the Dr Robotnik from Sonic Underground piece is standing on. And right at the back there's another Burger King Dr Robotnik toy just hidden there right at the back. He's really hard to see there. On the right here We've got a couple of Sonic X Astro discs featuring Dr. Eggman and a Dr. Eggman button badge. And if I move to the right here, coming down to here, we have an absolutely awesome sketch from legendary Sonic the Comic artist Richard Elson, which he did for me. I requested Dr. Robotnik and he drew this, and this is absolutely incredible. Now this isn't the original, this is a photocopy I did of it because there's no way I'd stick the original on here with blue tack, getting like all destroyed. But yeah, that is really awesome. So I do have a couple more Dr. Robotnik pieces that aren't actually fixated in this shelf. I'll just show them to you quickly. Move over here. I have a small Dr. Eggman figure right at the middle there. Now I've got this one with thanks to Ghosty Shadow. And moving over here, we have the Dr. Eggman bendable action figure in the box. And coming over here, right at the top here, we have another item that's become pretty rare now, which is the Jazzware Dr. Eggman figure with Egg Robos. I'll just hold the camera up so you get a better look. And to the right of that we have the Dr. Eggman squeezable keychain. Okay, and that is pretty much every piece of Dr. Robotnik merchandise that I have out on display in my game room. Now, I do have a few other pieces of Dr. Robotnik related merchandise, however they're buried deep in storage and I really can't be asked to get them out. But I do have photos of them, so what I'm going to do now is a little slideshow for you showing all the other related pieces of Robotnik merchandise from comics to animation cells.